Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel's Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis update of commodities. We're going to work our way through the dollar, yields, precious metals, and commodities and ETFs that I follow. I'm going to give you my financial opinions across the board, and if you guys need any help with anything, check out finding-value.com. We have a September coupon code that's 50% off for a monthly membership for the first month. So you have to use the discount coupon code September. Let's dive in. Let's see what the markets are doing today. So we've got the DXY. It looks to me like, we're not getting a huge bounce here. So it's possible that this thing rolls over, depending on what yields do. So we're going to look at yields to see if it's possible that we can get a little bit of a dollar decline here. If we back out, you can see, we've been playing here. There's a little bit going on with this dollar as we've come down into this. So we've been playing back and forth. But again, I'm waiting to see if this thing's going to pause here or continue higher. And that I think, will be determined by what yields do. So the 2-year yield, we tried running today. It's getting some more selling pressure. I'm starting to watch precious metals. It's like, is this thing going to start to go down? Are we going to continue higher? Right now, the momentum's definitely to the upside. So the momentum's going up. It still has that momentum, but we have gotten a little bit more selling pressure in this area. So I'm just watching to see if we can potentially roll over here. The 10-year getting a little bit more selling pressure, and this is a bearish engulfing, which means we could head lower. So I'm watching it. I'm just watching it to see, are we going to get more of a topping pattern? If we start to head lower and we break this trend line, that has a high and a little bit of a lower high. But again, this is too early to state that that is for surely going to happen. We're just watching at this point. We are getting these bearish engulfings starting to show up. So something to look for. TYX TNX ratio does look like it wants to work its way to the upside here, and it looks like it's squeezing. So, I'm getting interested here saying, okay, we are squeezing up. Yields could roll over here. And if this starts to uninvert and come back up, gold and silver are going to take off, and the gold and silver mining stocks could potentially take off. So I'm watching it. I'm watching it like a hawk. There might be some entry points for maybe in gold and silver. Bond prices are up against support. Remember, that's where yields are going to drop. So if yields were to go up, bond prices would drop. But we're sitting on a bunch of support back here. So that support's probably, it's like, you know what, it came back, I'm going to buy some more. If this starts to bounce off support to the upside, we're going to see yields drop. Yields drop, TYX, TNX ratio starts to go up. Precious metals are going to be sitting in a pretty good location, I think. We've got gold here. Gold slightly lower. It's holding on today. And I think it's trying to figure out where yields are going to go. And that's why we've been sitting on top of this pattern, just going back and forth in a pattern here. So maybe we're just going to squeeze up for a little bit longer on top of this pattern before we break to the upside. We might have some time left. I'm not saying this is going to be immediate, but I'm watching it in this precious metals and yields. Silver still is squeezing up. We're still squeezing up for silver, and platinum is just doing what the other guys are doing and just kind of moving sideways. XAU to gold ratio is holding firm. It does look good to go higher here based off of a bullish engulfing here and a little bloody nose today. So I'm looking at all this. I'm like, well, it's possible that we can get a bounce here. I know we're early. Be patient. And let's see what we get here over the next week or two. CRB index, it's still holding on. Just 0.09, still holding on, still looking good. We have broken out of that pattern, and it looks really good to continue higher. CRV to S&P 500, we're just sideways. It still looks good to move on up. Still looks good to move on up. GDX moving sideways. It's holding. GDXJ moving sideways and SILJ moving sideways. I think we're getting close here, guys. We've got support right where we're at, and we're getting closer and closer to what I think is a potential bottom whenever it occurs over maybe the next few weeks or months. And then when we see those yields start to roll over, and if we see things start to break, I would be looking at these sectors. Crude oil moving sideways today could be considered a little bloody nose. If we were to zoom way in, what we're doing basically is we're doing a retest move. This is on a very short-term time frame. So what generally happens is you break to the upside, here's your break, and then you do a retest, and then you work your way on higher again. Sometimes when oil goes up, yields go up with it. So again, we need to watch what yields do. If yields continue higher, I think crude oil is going to go up with it. And we could see metals go sideways for a little while. Natural gas still looking pretty good. It's a little bloody nose today, so I still think we could go higher here. And there's that pattern overlaid on nat gas. So everything still looks pretty good for nat gas to continue higher at some point, early or late fall, early winter. XOP, we're getting a little bit more selling pressure here. We're right above support. Maybe we go a little bit sideways for a little bit. We've had a pretty big run here. We're right at resistance. We'll see what happens here, guys. I still think we're going to go higher with time, but we have gotten a little bit of selling pressure past few days. OIH also feeling a little bit of selling pressure. We're coming up towards this resistance level. This is the resistance level I'm talking about. We are coming up towards that resistance level. Every time we come up against this resistance level, we usually get a sell-off up here. So we have a bearish engulfing. That generally means we're going to go lower, but we want to see what the response is by the buyers and sellers over the next few days to see if this has any sort of momentum or selling pressure behind it. Sprout Physical Uranium Trust, ripping it to the upside. Looks fantastic there. And we could see this continue to the upside. URA also ripping it. Nice strong finish. Looks good. Everything still looks good to go higher. URNM also following the train, I should say, broken out and just ripping it. URNJ also up even bigger, 4.5%. Big move today for URNJ. Looks fantastic, guys. TAN getting ripped in half today, -2%. It is down here trying to base out, trying to move. And I think we'll eventually get a base here and move on up if it decides to. I am not in the TAN camp really, so I don't really own. I own a little bit, but I'm not in the TAN camp. Just playing the chart here. COPX just moving sideways. Not really much to report there. Lithium still in the pattern. It looks like it's trying to bottom out, so that looks better. And REMX is doing the same thing. It looks like it's trying to bottom out. I don't think it looks that bad, guys. If yields were to drop, this goes up with precious metals. So precious metals are similar to rare earths. Usually the precious metals go first. Rare earth moves right behind it, usually. SPX, a little bit of buying pressure today, but again, these are all small candlesticks here. It's like we've got a nice balance between buyers and sellers. Nasdaq's doing the same thing. Which direction is this going to go? Because we've got a high here. Is this kind of going to peak and roll over? But we also have. It's not much selling pressure to say that will for surely happen. So I need more data here, guys. I need more data before I can give you a good opinion here. Emerging markets moving sideways. Still looks good in my opinion. If we get the dollar to drop, this thing's going to roll to the upside. XHB down. Again, we're getting a lot of selling pressure here. If yields were to roll over, I think we'll be okay. If yields continue higher, I think this is going to go lower based off of mortgage rates. Think of it that way. Move right up against support. I still think this looks good for a potential move up as we are on support. Copper still trying to figure out which direction it wants to go. To me, this looks like it wants to go higher. We've got the big buying pressure with small little candlesticks next to it. That's generally positive for a move on upward. Iron ore, slightly lower, but again, I'm in the camp that we're going to move higher with iron ore. We've broken out of that falling wedge. Nickel, again, guys, we keep getting this selling pressure in nickel. I'm not going to do anything. There's no big green army showing up yet. Momentum could still go lower in this. Aluminum, up a little bit today. We're against support. Everything looks okay, and hopefully the support holds. Baltic Dry Index still moving on up. And I think we're going to work our way higher with the Baltic Dry Index as we've broken out of the falling wedge. And this is generally a good spot to be accumulating. Newcastle Coal, I don't think this is updating right now. I don't know why it's not, but I could even probably pull it up again. Let me pull it up. NCF. Put it here. So there it is. We've got August 30th. It is delayed, but anyway, this does look like a good spot to look for a potential move to the upside for Newcastle Coal futures. Bitcoin up today, looking all right, but again, lots of just back and forth trading here. Same with Ethereum, it's just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I think it highly depends on interest rates and how much money's in the system. That's really what it's going to come down to. Momentum is still to the downside, and I have not seen that change for both of these. Momentum is still to the downside, and that hasn't been turned yet. So that's what I'm seeing in the markets. Energy, precious metals is looking interesting here. If we get a turn in yields, that's a big if, okay? I'm not stating that's happened. Big if we get a turn, precious metals are located well, and I think maybe in a month or two we could get some big moves. There's a lot of patterns in precious metals that look good, falling wedges that are coming to corners. So I do think it's possible over the next few months or so that we could start ripping. And it all depends on interest rates and where interest rates want to go. And right now, kind of a tough read. Momentum's to the upside. We're getting a couple of candlesticks where we could turn over, but that's just could at this point. It's not is. So just kind of wait and see where yields go. I'm still in the camp that energy is going to crush it, and uranium's just doing crazy stuff right now. So that all looks good on that point, from that point, in that perspective. We have a question and answer session coming up at 7 a.m. Mountain Standard Time this weekend. So don't forget that if you're a Platinum member. We do have that 50% discount code to September in the monthly if you want to join, or you can use the other discount code if you want to join like a yearly membership and get a $50 off coupon for that. That's called, I think, discount, and that's in the comment section or whatever, the description section below. All right, guys, we'll catch you later. This is Finding Value.